station.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? We'll make your voice heard on the Brad, Sean, Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Couple 13-14 passed here in the Common Man program, and I found that quote I was looking for, Kennedy, though I had to actually just ask. I thought I'd saved the story, but I asked AI, talking about Ed Policy, who is basically the Green Bay Packer decision maker. The exact quote, making decisions that are best for the franchise and don't worry what the fans think, is not a direct quote from Ed Policy about his father, Carmen. However, reports and interviews indicate that Ed Policy learned valuable, tough decision-making lessons from his father's time as an NFL executive, which involved controversial moves despite fan opinion. Ed Policy observed firsthand his father making difficult and unpopular decisions as a high-ranking executive with the 49ers, such as firing Super Bowl winning coach Joe Seifert and trading Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Montana. Because I only bring it up is because we were talking about how, someone said, well, if you they asked both KOC today and Mark Rosen's with us now. They asked KOC and Kwesi, do you expect to be described, and they both kind of danced around a little bit, Kwesi in particular. And then someone said, my response was, I think what I would have said is, well, we'd like it to be that way. Yeah. That's why we drafted him. And then someone said, yeah, but then you might hurt McCarthy's feelings and he'll have a lack of confidence in Curl. But I can't worry about that. The same thing when, and I always bring this up a lot, is when, the Packers drafted Jordan Love, and there were Packer fans and media that were outraged. How do you do that? Why would you draft that guy when you got Aaron Rodgers right now and he needs help at wide receiver? Well, it's because you have to take care of the franchise. That's what Carmen Policy would do with San Francisco. Last I checked, he had a really good run. It's that you have to say, I know the fans don't like this decision. It's an unpopular one. I can't just, if I just go over what the fans say, well, then I may as well not even have a job. We could just do a poll every week. Fans, what do you think direction the team should go? And so I think that's just most of it. You can't worry about hurting feelings or making decisions that will upset. You got to make decisions that you think are in the best interest of the football team.
They're not spending their time on social media over there, or pretty much anywhere. They're not gauging the temperature of every fan that has an opinion about the Vikings quarterback situation. They have to make decisions based on, well, number one, what they feel is going to be the best for this team, and number two, keeping themselves employed.
Yeah, well, correct.
Gainfully employed. And so I think the response is, I don't think it was saying, well, JJ might feel this or that. I think that was just his natural response. I'm talking about Kwesi's, about McCarthy going forward. I don't think it changes anything. I think that what I got out of it was something I've talked to you about in the course of this whole, this season, is that, I always wondered, and I think the question was asked today, and they didn't duck it, but, in terms of when McCarthy missed his rookie season, and I don't mean just games, but in the inability to practice because of the knee surgery, that, did you really expect him to kind of just start fresh and just take off and be your starting quarterback, given the quarterback room you did have, however you want to slice it with Darnold and Daniel Jones, that you kind of, batten down the hatches and JJ's our guy. We'll sign Carson Wentz, as it turned out, before the end of training camp, and we'll run with it. I mean, that was kind of the feeling that we got, and that's what they did. And it unfortunately backfired on him. He clearly wasn't ready, and then, he got hurt, we know, any number of times, and it's not to suggest that, starting off next season, that McCarthy won't earn the job and end up being their starting quarterback for years to come. But I think you got the sense today that you have to have a very competitive quarterback room. That doesn't mean Max Brosmer is your backup quarterback. You have to up the ante, however you want to define that. And if they bring in someone who the fans, media, everyone else can look at and go, this guy could start day one, so be it. I mean, they don't have any other time now to waste. I mean, when it comes to this, and McCarthy will still have ample opportunity, and I hope he does win the job. But I think the mindset is definitely going to change in terms of.
Well, if you believe what Seifert wrote about a week ago now, last weekend, was the Vikings did not think Danny Dimes was going to leave. They thought they gave him a competitive offer that he'd want to stay here. He said all the right things. If you remember, he said, the way they do things here and where I was before, where was it, Giants?
Yes.
It's just night and day, preparation. So I think they thought he was staying. So I thought they thought McCarthy and Jones, we're not going to give 105 or 110 or 120 million dollars to Darnold. We're not going to do that. And then I think, I'm not saying Danny Dimes pulled a fast one on him, because I don't think it's like he said, oh yeah, I'm staying, and then changed his mind. They just, I think, assumed he would stay. And then when he didn't, that's when they went, whoa. Now what do we let Darnold go? We've got this guy. We want him, so I guess we're going to play him. For me, what surprised me was and I don't think anybody's denied this. I think O'Connell has said he talked with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers wanted to play here, and they decided not to do that. That was even a bigger mistake because that was saying we believe McCarthy is ready, and the team felt they were ready to improve. They were 13-4. They were 1 win away from being the number 1 seed in the playoffs last year, and by improving the offensive line and the defensive line on aging guys, because those guys they signed were more for now than 5-6 years down the line. They weren't like young guys. They must have thought, well, no, we think we can coach McCarthy up, and that we think he'll have enough around him that we'll be able to win with McCarthy. To me, the mistake was not signing. First of all, I would have signed Darnold. I was on record of doing that, but I certainly would have signed Rodgers. Absolutely.
Well, Rodgers would have expected to start.
They should start.
If that's the case, and that again is reading the tea leaves to understand that they would have had to admit, Common, that we don't think J.J. McCarthy's ready to start in Chicago opening day, because he didn't play in the preseason, except for that. He played briefly, right? The first half of the one game, I think. But, basically, they have to admit that we feel he's ready. And then you have to sell that to Aaron Rodgers. Say, look, you come here, but you're not going to start game one. And as long as McCarthy's playing well or stays healthy, and would that have been
But should they have said to McCarthy, we're bringing in Aaron Rodgers. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We think he can lead us. You can learn from him.
Well, in retrospect,
we're going to give you a second year.
Retrospect, yeah. But at the time, I think they all felt like they
thought wrong.
They did, and that's why.
They should have listened to me.
KOC also said today that, getting back to Danny Jones, is that, or I don't know, maybe it was him or Kwesi said it, that by the definition of you're a free agent, Danny Jones had every ample opportunity to go elsewhere, and he looked at the situation in Indy. Anthony Richardson was either hurt or his career looked like it was already been derailed before he got started, and he had an opportunity to go and definitely start right away. And we saw he had really good results until, unfortunately, he got hurt. But it's a carousel that never ends for this football team. And the stability or lack thereof that the Vikings have had compared to now, in particular, the rest of the NFC North, where we know Caleb Williams is rolling right now for the Bears.
He's going to be the best quarterback in pro football in 2 years.
He might be. I don't know.
He's going to be.
Well, he had his moments Sunday. He had his moments.
It's only in his second year.
I understand that. But there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. I'm just saying but the point of the matter is, they got him locked up. Obviously Detroit's got Goff. He's not going anywhere.
No.
And the Packers have Jordan Love, who they've invested $220 million in or whatever. So
who is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in all of
Yeah, so the Vikings are looking at it once again, where they're playing catch up at a position that, you could say honestly, almost going back to Fran Tarkenton, that they've really never solidified for a period of years, where other teams have always had. You guys are talking about what's been going on in Pittsburgh with Tomlin's kind of surprising, maybe not so surprising resignation today. They had Ben Roethlisberger for how many years? And you go, the Vikings have never had that luxury of having that guy, and that's why I think when they drafted McCarthy, they're going, we finally got a guy that we feel in time is going to be that guy, and now the waiting process has to continue.
But you got to remember, I'll go back to O'Connell and the Wilfs weren't here back in the Tarkenton days.
I understand that.
Other days. So it's like, for them, they're not saying, finally we have one. I think Bobby O'Connell's thinking, I got my guy in my fourth year. This is pretty good. I don't think he's worried about the past.
No, he's not worried about the past, but I'm just saying that you worry about the division right now. That's what you have to worry about, and looking around the league. And we know that quarterbacks, have up and down success. They win the Super Bowl, then Jalen Hurts doesn't look as good the next year. There might be other issues going on in Philly. Go down the list of the quarterbacks that are, in the NFC right now, and who's still standing? Well, Matthew Stafford with the Rams, and he arguably is going to be the MVP of the league. And they made that trade with Detroit. Went from Detroit to L.A. and they Goff went one way, Stafford went the other, and both teams succeeded on paper. Now the Vikings are still kind of like, well, let's see what happens. And I think it's going to be another intriguing offseason. What quarterback are they going to bring in to have a competitive room, as they like to call it?
Going into the season, you were all in on, you got to give it to McCarthy and let him play. Do you feel that way going into this season?
No, I
changed your mind.
Well, no, wait. It's not a question of changing my mind. I thought that they were going to give him a chance to compete for the job. I would like to have had Danny Jones here as a
But when
backup.
I said let's sign Darnold, you said nope. When I said sign Rodgers, you said nope. We got to go with the McCarthy.
Well, the expense of signing Sam Darnold, I thought was going to be at the expense of adding players that were going to help this team that they desperately needed in the offensive line and defensive line. And if you sign Sam Darnold to that contract, you're not going to be able to sign all those guys.
Those guys they sign, how good do they play?
Well, it doesn't matter. You still have to invest in them. I mean, no, you can't. It's hindsight. I mean, yeah, you can say that about anything. But, I mean, they had to get Will Fries. I thought had a pretty good year.
He did have a good year. Of the four guys, he was the one that
he was the one that stayed the healthiest, too. I mean, obviously they drafted Donovan Jackson, who had an outstanding, I think, rookie season. But, yeah, it's every team goes through this. But the Vikings have got to catch up now, again.
I think they're in trouble. Big trouble. Let's take a break, come back. We'll get to more. Tennessee, you got a keyword? Are we doing that keyword thing? That
a little cash contest?
Yeah.
The fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is money. Enter now at KFAN.com. Miss your chance to know what the latest sports news is in town, chances to win tickets, and knowing what is going on with all of your favorite KFAN shows. Follow KFAN 1003 on all our social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and X now. Stay connected and follow the sports leader, KFAN.
13-14 passed on the Common Man program. I'm Common. He's 10 to be. Mark Rosen is with us now. Football playoffs were really entertaining over the weekend.
Sure
Last
were.
night's game wasn't highly entertaining. There was some drama to it, of course, because Rodgers and could he do it? Possibly his last season in pro football, but of course he was not willing to commit to that last night, and I think he'll string it out all spring and all summer long.
No, not Aaron.
Because he likes the attention. And then there was one other game, the Sunday night game.
Yeah, the Chargers game.
That wasn't, it was kind of, not necessarily boring, but just wasn't a lot of drama, not a lot of great football. Otherwise, the rest of the weekend, from that very first game, when the Panthers gave the Rams everything they wanted.
Right.
Then the nightcap with the amazing comeback by the
Bears.
By the Bears
right.
over, I was struggling to find, over the Packers. That was they were down 21-3 at the half, 21-6 after three quarters, and outscored them in the fourth quarter 28-6 to win that football game. Then the Sunday game, the Jacksonville versus
Buffalo
highly
game.
Highly entertaining game. And there were moments there where everybody had to think maybe finally Jacksonville was going to be able to do it. They were not able to, and then the nightcap. And so a lot of good football, and there's some really good matchups in the divisional round, especially San Francisco wants another crack at Seattle. They split during the regular season. They played the last game of the regular season when Seattle clinched the number one spot when they beat San Francisco 13-3. That should be a really good game. And
I hope you're right. I don't necessarily think, because I think the odds are so stacked against San Francisco because of the, again, they have the records to prove it. Coming off a short week when you play on a Sunday, and the Seattle Seahawks they got the bye, obviously. Now you got to play on Saturday night. You lose that extra day. Plus, they're out without Kittle and banged up. I don't think they're going to be able to.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be really surprised if they hang in there. I hope they do. I know Seattle's 7.5-point favorites, but I don't see San Francisco. I think
they played the second half without Kittle and beat a pretty good. Who did they just beat?
I'm talking about just
Who did San Francisco just beat?
Philadelphia.
That's they're defending Super Bowl champions.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that coming out of that into a short week, and the odds are heavily stacked against them. If they do, then that's a hell of a coaching job, and Purdy's going to have to play the game of his life against that defense in that condition.
By the way, the 49ers, according to Rap Sheet, are opening the practice window for Pro Bowl linebacker Fred Warner with the hope he returns for the NFC title game if they make it that far.
I heard that because I saw him. He still had like a cast on his leg during the game.
I know I'm a lone wolf here, and I think the short week is overrated.
Well, it hasn't been by results. I mean,
really?
In that case, it's like 0-7 is what the numbers are. When you play on a Sunday, you have to go play on a Saturday. Those teams are like 0-7. So I mean, maybe they'll buck that trend.
Pittsburgh hadn't lost a Sunday night game since 1991.
Well,
at home.
I'm just talking about. I know, but I'm talking about a short week. Yeah, and of course they can win the game. I hope they make it very competitive.
Well, I think Seattle will win, but I still think it's a good game. I will not doubt San Francisco with his. They don't have a starting linebacker at all on the team, and their second string linebackers, 2 of them are out.
Well, our guy Eric Kendricks made the play of the game.
They don't have Ayuk. They are missing so many players, yet they still find that might be the best coach in pro football.
Yeah, Shanahan's done a hell of a job.
He finds ways to win games, and I will never doubt San Francisco. I mean, I do think Seattle will win. I think, again, all the pressure in the world's on Sammy Darnold. I think Darnold getting out of that, winning that game against San Francisco to clinch the division and home field advantage throughout the exact circumstance he had a chance to last year with the Vikings and failed miserably. On passing, I don't think he got enough credit for helping Seattle win that game last week. I know their defense was the most important part, and I also realize they had a good running game, but he made some really critical throws along the way, especially late when he threw that one down the right sideline. It was a terrific throw. I think that helps him, but that still is the issue with Darnold. He has more turned it over 20 times this year. Yeah. He can still turn the ball. If he avoids turnovers, I think Seattle's going to the big game, but I'd be surprised if San Francisco won, but not stunned. They're really good. They find ways to win. McCaffrey is so good. I know I've always known he is, but again, he showed me in that game the other night.
His versatility is amazing.
That's it. He's so versatile. Yeah. He can do so many different things. It's going to be a good game.
A bone-chilling night at Soldier Field again. They're talking. I know it's going to get cold here this weekend. It's going to be the same sort of conditions. They're playing at night. And they've decided to do that for TV purposes. So the Rams will have to deal with the elements as well and the crowd. And then the place was psychotic the other night. But I still expect the Rams to win that game.
You do?
I do. I just think they have too many weapons for Chicago. I just don't trust their secondary, and I think Matthew Stafford is. They can keep coming at you, and I know they can be vulnerable, and I think that'll be a very entertaining game. And we just talked about it off air. I mean, after watching again the Texans' defense last night, and they're not just their front four, but the tackling ability of their cornerbacks. Sometimes you get caught up in discussing this corner or that corner and what kind of pass defense skills does he have, but then you realize how good a tackling team they are. And they're playing a Patriots team that, is at home again and kind of feeling their oats but they're going to run into it. Drake May is going to find out just where he's at in his career against that defense on Sunday afternoon. So yeah, it all matches up well. And it's interesting. We could talk about it in different contexts, but, and we are, I think most football fans are going, this is going to be great. This might be the best weekend of the year. It's one of those, you got the 2 games on Saturday, the 2 games on Sunday. Oh, by the way, Monday night's a national championship football game in college football. No one's talking about it. I mean, I guess in Indiana they are. But you know what I mean? It's just like, then all of a sudden you turn the page and go, oh, there's a national championship game. I don't know how they can fix the timing. Maybe they can't. But it just seems like there's going to be zero kind of national attention given to that game until Monday, which is just the way it is. And Indiana will probably role in that one, but we'll see.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's why they play the game.
That defense of Miami is pretty darn good.
Yeah,
defense
it
wins
is.
champs. Of course, Indiana's got a solid defense as well. Do you like the Bills or the Broncos?
I want the Bills to win. I just feel like I want Josh Allen to get to a Super Bowl.
You do?
Yeah, I really do. It's not like it's a personal thing, but I kind of hope Buffalo wins.
Do you think Buffalo will win?
They're favored.
So you'll take Buffalo.
Yeah.
And you're taking the Seahawks to beat the 49ers?
Right. Yeah.
Do you think the Patriots beat the Texans, or does the Texans defense win?
I think the Texans are going to upset them.
You do?
Yeah.
And you think the Bears are?
No, I think the Rams are going to.
No, actually, you think the Bears are going to lose?
I do. I think the Rams have too many weapons for.
Tennessee.
Well, I guess I did pretty well with the spread swing part. What do you want to bet on?
I think the Rams are going to get beat. The Bears are too good.
You're going to make me bet against my city? I don't know. I can't know if I can do that. You asked me who I thought's going to win the game. I'm trying to be objective about it. I think the Rams are going to win the game. I think they just have too much Puka Nacua and too much defense. And Caleb
Bears got a Pro Bowl safety.
Yeah, they do.
He's one of the top two safeties in the NFC, so I don't know.
Most scoring
I think
game.
the Bears' secondary isn't as bad as you think it might be. But
they had a guy that was banged up. That's what they kept going after. Anyway, we'll find out.
We'll pause. We'll come back. Another half hour to go with the legendary Mark Rosen, Common Man and Tennessee right here on the Fan.
Join the Common Man this Saturday at Party Barn in Lake Elmo from noon to 2 p.m. Swing by their Pebble Beach Bay for our closest to the pin contest for your shot at a $100 Party Barn gift card. Plus a hole-in-one all day could secure you an Eagle membership. Get the details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
I'll also allow you to touch the hem of the garment, and you can watch me hit knockdown, punch, cut, fade, draws. It should be fun time for one and all. I'll see you there at Party Barn, the old machine shed at 94, and I guess it's Inman Avenue, but it's really Radio Drive. Just when it crosses the freeway, changes, I think, to Inman, I think that's what it changes to when it gets to Oakdale, but I'd love to see you there. Trivia question for you.
Yes, sir.
Since Thanksgiving, what NBA team has the best record?
Timberwolves.
14-5. What do you think of the Wolves now? What did you think of?
Changed my mind a bit.
Oh, you haven't?
No, remember I said at the beginning of the year they're going to be the second seed.
But about
you scoffed at me.
I know, but a couple of weeks ago I asked you when they were struggling if you still thought they'd be the second seed, and you weren't quite sure about that anymore.
Well, I'm still not honestly quite sure.
Yeah.
I think OKC and San Antonio still look like they play again tonight. The best of the best, but and the Wolves are going to go at it. Milwaukee tonight. Gobert suspended for a game, and Ant's not playing tonight.
Load management because of his foot, his right
ankle. Yeah, he played through it, and obviously had an astonishing game. Talking about comebacks, the game against San Antonio.
They were down 16.
Yeah,
came back.
That was kind of epic. So they're playing an Eastern Conference team. I don't know. I think it's not that it matters saying they can get the second seed. I mean, OKC's come back down to earth. But yeah, they've played awfully well. I mean, Randall's been playing at a high level. DiVincenzo's come back really strong. It looks like things have settled in with their rotation, and tonight they'll be faced with a different task from other guys. Maybe the young French kid, the 19-year-old Beranger will get a chance to get some playing time. I'm not quite sure you want to match him up against the Greek Freak.
Why not?
But give him a shot at it. He goes against Gobert every day in practice.
Out and with not playing Edwards, you're basically conceding the game.
Well, I mean that's a surprise. No, I don't think they're conceding anything. Milwaukee's only a 3-point favorite.
Right,
I know what you're saying.
Teams when they don't play there,
yes.
You'll see some teams like they'll have 4 guys who are not playing.
Right, and then
in other words, you're saying, well, we'll try to win and we could steal it, but we're looking at this game as
the Nuggets have been doing that for quite a while without their top players, without Joker and everything. But
they rest guys all the time.
Well, he's been hurt, but
went hurt and rest.
Yeah, but so I mean they've been playing awfully well. That game the other night was kind of that's a one that's a game even no matter what happens tonight, it can have a real positive effect on kind of the whole mindset of the team. And Mike Nori was coaching. Chris Finch was sick, so he was not on the bench, but they missed a beat and they came back against all odds against that a really really good San Antonio team.
You like this club?
Well, I like the way they've been playing. I mean, I'm honestly pleasantly surprised. I mean, how well they've been playing, considering some of those games they lost earlier this year.
Right.
Every team goes through those stretches, and then again, you're going to have it.
It's the way it is in the association.
Yeah, just jockeying for position right now. That's really kind of what you're doing. That's why Ant's got the night off tonight. I mean, it just makes sense against an Eastern Conference team, which doesn't have as direct effect on your standings.
Right.
So, it's been good. It's been really good.
What do you think of your Wild Club?
Well, they had a tough stretch last night, that's for sure. They get, every team again has one of those. I was flipping around a little bit, between the game, and every time I turned over, it seemed like they were giving up another goal.
They gave up 2 goals to the same guy in about a 10-second period or a minute, something like that, right, Tanneby? Was that how that went?
It seemed like the third period was raining goals for the Devils.
Yeah, there were a lot of huge.
Well, they scored one right at the end, but like 6 seconds left in the second period to take the lead.
Right.
Yeah, it was killer.
Got a power play immediately, like 13 seconds into the third.
So, I mean, again, the beat goes on. I mean, if you look at the standings and the way this playoffs are set up, it's Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota are kind of interchangeable. And that's probably the way they're going to finish, even though they got a long ways to go in the season. I mean, anything is possible, but
sure, it's possible.
It's not likely because they have such an advantage. Those 3 teams in particular, over the rest of their division, conference, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be the pecking order probably for the rest of this regular season. So I don't think anyone's going to. I still think that Ken has talked about it more. I mean, and the hockey insiders keep thinking Bill Guerin's still going to make another.
Oh,
move.
He'll make a couple. Maybe
he'll make one more anyway.
Might make a couple.
Maybe.
No.
You never know.
Why not?
He's going
Make 3
for
or
it.
4.
We're all in.
We're all in.
All in.
Push in the chips.
Patriots.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Former Wild coach and your guy, Dean Evason, fired
Again
from the Columbia Columbus Blue Jackets. Yeah, so they were in last place. I guess that's what you expect.
Well,
like Tenneby said, he doesn't have a real track record of being. He's a good coach, but not. He's had 2 head coaching jobs, and neither one got into the playoffs. So getting another head coaching job might be tough for him. But he'll coach again because he knows his X's and O's.
It's just astonishing in the pro game, no matter what sport we're talking about. The NFL is first and foremost on the tip of everyone's tongue because how many coaches have been fired? I mean, the fact that Harbaugh and Tomlin in the same week. Now Harbaugh he wasn't fired; he walked away, but 19 seasons.
Oh, he was fired, wasn't he?
I thought he.
Tomlin?
Yeah.
No, he resigned.
No. Oh, I thought you said Harbaugh. Harbaugh was fired.
Harbaugh was
Tomlin
fired. Yeah.
resigned. Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying that there's the number of coaching vacancies of these multi-billion-dollar enterprises that they just go through coaches like crazy, and
a lot at stake.
Well, but you're just rolling the dice that you might get the right guy.
You're right. You're right.
That's all you do. It's not. They try to find the next youngin from a team. I'll be interested to see now with the Pittsburgh opening if Brian Flores will get an interview there as a head coach because he's. You heard KOC a little bit today, and he's saying we feel very confident that if Flores doesn't get a head coaching job, that he will be back here as defensive coordinator. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
You do?
Yeah. But I think that, he's got to explore, the other avenues. I think he's had at least the one interview and there's a lot of other candidates right now. And it gets a little tougher with, when you got Harbaugh and Tomlin out there to try to, break into that exclusive company, to get your name in there and impress people enough, besides being a terrific defensive coordinator.
I thought I saw, I don't know, I read so much and scan stuff. I thought I saw somebody said there was one D coordinator job Tomlin could be interested in, but maybe that's just people saying stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, he's talked, they're speculating.
Well, I think part of it would be why you kind of want to be a defensive coordinator with a team that also has a really good quarterback and you have a good offense. And if as good as that defense played this year, especially down the stretch, won 5 games, but still, offensively, there was no help. It was almost all on the defense could barely make a mistake. If they did, you would lose. And so if you're if you're B-Flow and you're going, man, come back here, it'd be great, but I've still got an offense. I don't know if all of a sudden, let's say some guy gets hired at Baltimore and says, we'd like to give you the defensive coordinator job. And you go, Ravens? Got a pretty good defense. They got some good players. They got Kyle Hamilton in the back. And they got Lamar Jackson. And they got King Henry. that might be a nice place where I can my defense can be helped out by the offense. But maybe everybody seems to think it's a sure thing he stays with Minnesota. If he stays as a coordinator, maybe he will. I don't know.
Well, I think he will. I really do think a defensive. I mean, I don't think he'll get a better opportunity, and financially they're going to up the ante. I know that they're going to make him, a more wealthy man. I mean, you could have, why don't you have Harbaugh and Tomlin just change places? I mean, that would be fascinating.
I think the most. I think New York is where Harbaugh.
That's an interesting. They like the quarterback there. That still it's New York.
They got some good defensive players, especially on the line.
No, that's an intriguing option.
Don't the Giants have a couple of pretty good wideouts too, Tennessee?
Oh, they got one.
One good one?
Malik Neighbors. Well, he's young. He was hurt the vast majority of the season.
I know. I had him on my
really
fantasy
good,
team.
right?
Yeah.
That's not I could see Harbaugh going. And I think some guys like the challenge in New York. I think they like the big markets. I don't think that scares a guy like Harbaugh.
Well, they've been out. I mean, they've been out of the conversation for so long for the most part. The Jets are irrelevant, and the Giants haven't been much better, even in the East. I mean, you talk about every New York team gets so much, extra publicity. Just look at the Yankees, the Mets, the Knicks, the hockey teams, I guess, to a certain extent. But, man, the Giants have been, not exactly making any news. But they do have a good young quarterback, and that's something to build around. So,
I did not realize it till they said it on the telecast last night. I didn't know Pittsburgh had lost. That was their 7th consecutive playoff loss. I didn't realize it.
Yeah, it's... getting there is one, it doesn't matter. I mean, you feel, I know it was Aikman talking about that last night. I think he was saying, you make the playoffs, you don't have a good season, not a great season. But man, especially when you could see it on their faces, they were done, in the second half. They were beaten up, and it really is an empty feeling. It's almost worse than not making the playoffs.
Well, in some respects, I sent that to Badger Bob. Yeah. I said, text to Badger Bob. I was teasing Badger last, but big Packer fan.
Oh, of course.
Pretty well known to the older listeners of the station when he used to live
Badger
here.
Bob.
And he told me, I sent him a text. I said, boy, that was almost as bad as 2014, when they lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship game. And I said to him, if I knew I was going to blow a game like that, I'd have rather just gone 9-8 and missed the playoffs. And there is something to that.
There is.
But I will say this, going back to it is just making the tournament, because go back to the season when New England lost their only game of the year in the big game against the Giants. The Giants, weren't they a 9-7 wild card team that year?
I'd have to look it up. I think you're right.
Certain
Eli,
they were 9-7.
Yeah.
Just got in by the skin of their teeth, and New England was trying to complete the first ever 19-0 or whatever it would be, 20. It would have been 19-0 back then. And they beat them. So just once you get in as a wild card, you got to win them, but you just got to win. How is it? The wild card round, the divisional. Just got to. If you can get on a 4-game roll.
Yeah,
and that's what they
happened.
did.
Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh's done it before. Yeah.
So
that's why when every GM talks, when you hear Kwesi today and everybody else, it's of course you want to be in the tournament, because then especially right now things are. I mean, you look at the point spreads. You look at, I don't just going by point spreads, but just watching the games this weekend. There was a lot of down to the wire finishes, and that's what makes it.
Every game except last night, and then Chargers was close until midway through the fourth quarter. But every game was a one possession game that went right down to the wire. And so again, you'd rather be 13-4 and get a first round bye, right? But you can be 9-7 and make now be 9-8. You can make a run.
Carolina played well.
They did. The Bryce Young kid, I'd never, I've never watched a full game of Bryce Young play. Right. Maybe you have.
I haven't.
I've never.
No, I have no
reason to watch Carolina football. But he still had growing pains. But he looked pretty good to me. I would look at that guy and say, I see
why he was the number one pick.
Yeah, if he was my my franchise quarterback to be, I saw some nice things from him. A lot of these guys go through those growing pains. They lose their first couple of times in the playoffs. I mean,
some of the greats of all time have done that.
Herbert's never won a playoff game yet, right?
I don't believe he has.
Has the Jacksonville guy yet? Football Fabio, has he won a playoff game yet?
Trevor Lawrence?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, no. And I know now, I think, isn't Herbert 0-3? So even guys that you go, these guys are really good, they sometimes takes them a few times before they get it figured out or get the right breaks or right players around them, whatever.
That's why I think a lot of the that pressure without Mahomes in the tournament this year, that Josh Allen has been, waiting, kind of to prove that he can get to that game, much the way that
Mahomes is out and Burrow's out.
Yeah, Burrow's up. But, much the way that, Peyton Manning waited. And, a lot of the greatest quarterbacks had to wait and wait and wait. And now it seems like Josh Allen has that opportunity.
Do you think he'll take advantage? You think they're beating Denver?
Well, I don't think the team is as formidable as they were even a year or two ago.
I tend to agree with you.
But Josh is still so capable of magic. And, Denver's, I don't know. I'm going to say they're a little overrated. Their defense is awfully good, and that's a tough place to play. But I'm surprised that Buffalo's. Well, now you look at it, I'm sorry, Denver's like a 1-point favorite. It's basically a toss-up game, even though Denver's playing in their home stadium with that Rockets crowd. And
you think it's going to be Texans and Bills in the AFC Championship game?
I'd like to see it that way.
That's what you think?
Yeah,
that's your prediction.
You asked me about the Texans. I think they will beat New
And that
England.
game would be at Texans, right?
I believe so. Yes,
and
yes.
That's a real good deal. I think that if Buffalo were to get past Denver, I think it's a big if. I think Denver's going to win the game. But if they were to get by them, and the Texans were to get by them, and I think that can happen. I think the Texans can beat the Patriots because of the defense.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I would pick. Right now, I think the Texans are the favorite to go to the big game.
Well,
in the AFC because of their defense. That's who I think.
They're awfully formidable. I mean, they've been on a roll. You guys talked about it earlier. They lose their first 3 games, and they were 3-5 or 3. And every sort of note we always come up with. No team starts the season 0-2 and makes the playoffs or all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They kind of go against the grain of all of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's because generally speaking, I always joke about it because most teams that start 0-2, the reason they don't make the playoffs because they started because they're not any good.
That's true.
There are exceptions to that all the time, and that would be the Texans. They lost their first 3, but they are a good team.
That would be the 12% that's in the stat.
Yeah, the 12%
exactly.
that's in the stat.
That's all it takes. Right. They don't care about that.
And so, it's people always, they always do that. The media just likes doing those stories like that.
Of course they do.
They look at that and go, look at that stat. Yeah. Well, but you got to think of, why is that stat like that? It's because generally teams that start 0-2 aren't very good.
Yeah, correct.
Your Gopher basketball team.
Yeah, home tonight.
Those were a couple of nice wins.
Yeah, frustrating loss.
Yeah.
The other day with.
But that's a young team with a new coach, and they're growing. And I'm look. I'm not a moral victory guy, but I think it's a nice start for a new. He's a veteran coach. Medved's been around. He's very good at it. He's won everywhere he's gone. I compared him to Fleck in that way. Fleck won everywhere he coached. All those northern, eastern, western, southern Michigan schools he won. And Medved, no matter where he's been, he's always posted winning records. And he's off to a nice start.
Yeah, it should be. I'm going to the women's game tomorrow night.
Oh, you are?
Against USC. Or UCLA. They just beat USC, excuse me.
The California Jabronis.
Correct. But the Badgers, slight favorites tonight against the Gophers at home. Again, the Gophers have been, you mentioned from a year ago even, they've been very competitive for the most part in every Big Ten game. And
did you watch Badger beat Michigan?
I did not.
That was a hell of a game.
I did not.
I like watching the Badgers too. You got 4 Minnesota kids, including Trevor Winter's son,
kid,
Nolan Winter. And Trevor and I text and talk more than most people know, so I generally text him after games or during games or before, whatever the case may be. And his son, it's just funny how he's developed. He got very little playing time as a freshman, a little bit more last year as a sophomore. He is now in texting with Trev, he thought his son played well, but not as good as he has been against Michigan. But they're playing the number 2 team in the country. But he has, I believe it's 6 double-doubles this year. So his game is growing. And I remember somebody told me, might even have been JG, said that Ben Johnson told JG when they were recruiting him, Ben Johnson thought Winter was a program-changing player.
Wow. I remember the plaudits he was getting.
And I don't know if he's program-changing. I'm not ready to say. But I will tell you what, he's gotten better and better. He's a presence. He can rebound.
Does he play a power forward? What does he play?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he can play. He can play all over the floor. He can hit from outside. He can rebound a little bit. Plays pretty good defense. He had, his dad was being a little modest when he said he didn't play as well. He had 3 boards, including a really important one. And he also makes a lot of those plays that heads up players make, where he might not be able to get to the rebound, but he reaches just enough to tap the ball to one of his teammates and keep it from the other club. So the Janicki kid is getting a little bit more playing time. He's from White Bear, and they have 2 other Minnesotan kids, and they have the. You remember? Carrington? Remember he started here?
Right, he started here.
He's now with Wisconsin now, and he had a nice run. Though he had a chance to seal the game with the front end of a 1-on-1. He missed it. He got the second one. There was a 3-point lead, and Wisconsin held on to beat Michigan. But we're seeing Minnesota kids get some playing time with Wisconsin.
Not unusual to see a lot of Minnesota kids sprinkled around.
Yeah, the guard character. And Wisconsin's kind of been that way. They've
been that way for quite a while.
They take They raid the cupboard over here.
Yeah,
so.
it's got to return the favor.
Did you say that game is tonight?
Tonight, 6 o'clock. I was talking to Gargi about it. Get dinged for that.
I'll be in front of that.
He was at last night's game with courtside seats, I think. Of course, he was doing the play-by-play last night for the women. Tonight, he'll be,
Well, he's JG.
He's a man of many hats and jobs, and doing a great job as always.
I'm exhausted just from thinking about how many jobs he has. I can't imagine being that busy. Isn't it funny how some people are looking for more and I'm looking for less? But the iHeart motto for the longest time is less is more, so I'm all in on that.
Sign up for that.
Teneby, I'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Yes, hey, great job.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you saying that, even though I'm not sure you really believe it, but that's okay, too. I don't believe it either. But thank you for the compliment. We enjoyed visiting with you today. We'll see you here tomorrow at 12 noon. A Rock Talk tomorrow with Brian Oak at 1:15 and Rosen at 2. JG and Big Ticket are next.
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Timberwolves superfan KFAN Stan Barrero.
That sounds like a heck of a radio show. I might want to listen.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.